Okay guys, I've been wanting to make this video for a while because I think we have a very clever way to get a lot of air volume into a shop for quite cheap, because everyone knows what a giant compressor costs is ridiculous, and then it breaks and you're screwed. So my little shop here, we have a little granite shop, countertops, quartz, whatever. It's just two guys, me and one guy, and then my wife in the house, working bids and that. And we can make, if we wanted to, we can make 50 CFM at 100 PSI. Now, I don't know what big shops need. The limiting factor on this is how much electricity you can get. So we could make more. I would just need a bigger breaker box powering the system. So let's get started. I'm going to do a quick overview of the concept, and then I'm going to go back in detail over every little thing and talk forever because I'm a nerd and I like this stuff. So if you want the quick overview, you'll get that. And then if you want details of actually how to do it, we'll go through everything and bore you to death. So here we go. Fun times. Air polishers. Yep. Two-man shop, like I said. More air polishers. They're everywhere because they're cheap. This is the entrance of the air into the shop. 1.5-inch pipe. Now, if I can back up without dying. I'm old and fat. Okay. So that pipe is right there. Goes up the ceiling. Across the top. It's this little guy there. Up into those three reels are pneumatic. Power. One's an electric cord and one's a water line. So there's two pneumatic reels up there, two black ones. Okay, so how do we get, an important detail on this is this 1.5 inch. We're not running the whole thing on PEX. It's 1.5 inch pipe. This much pipe, as I just showed you throughout the shop, acts as a storage tank. That is a lot of volume being stored just in the pipe. And it's way bigger than I need it to be, but I only wanted to do it once. And a detail on this is it comes in there, it's coming in from the compressor room and going up to all my tools. One little way that we've managed to, let's see if we catch them. Nope, none today. We can get some water out of that little drop, which is nice to keep the system dry. Okay. Breaker box, very exciting. All right. Shop, or compressor room. This is it. 50 CFM, 100 PSI. From here on out, everything is 100 PSI. That's what I'm talking about. This entire concept is simply to put multiple compressors in parallel so that they all feed the system individually. That means I can have a bunch of tiny, cheap compressors, each contributing 4 or 5 CFM. You do, let's do 4 CFM. Let's say I need 2 of them per polisher. You got 3 guys working, you need 6 compressors. Okay. They're 160 each at Harbor Freight. So you can do the math. I'm not going to do math live because my brain sucks. So we're going to take, again, the whole concept. This is the overview, the short of it. Each of these compressors can be put into the system. This is that main line that I showed you on the other side there. So all you got to do is get you a hose with male on both ends, or however, and you just connect the compressor to a manifold. That manifold feeds whatever line you have running through your shop. That's it. It's as simple as that. It's a fraction of the cost. Done. That's the short one. So now let's get into some nerdy details. Let me back up. Well, not backing up. Your biggest hurdle here, sorry, you're looking at nothing. Your biggest hurdle here is each compressor. Not only does it have to be on its own outlet, it has to be on its own breaker. You have to power each compressor with its own circuit. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So if you can't do that, stop listening. I can't help you. You can't have one breaker with two compressors. Each of these compressors pulls 20 amps when it starts. And I don't know, 15 as it's running. So you try to run two 15 amp compressors at the same time, that's 30 amps, 20 amp breaker, not going to happen. Just physics. Also to note, if you want more air volume, you have to have more electricity. 4 to 5 CFM is all you're going to pull from 120 volts. It's basic physics. There's no cheating around this. You have to do that. So let's get into nerdy details. As I said, you have to have each compressor that's 120 volts has to be on its own breaker. That's not as hard to do as you think. It's actually quite easy to do. You just run a 12-2, or even better, hire an electrician. It doesn't have to be pretty. You just have to get a 12-2 to your breaker box, pay an electrician to connect it to the breaker box, put an outlet in. Done. You could probably do it with extension cords, but the electrician's probably not going to like that. Tying an electrician or an electric cord into a breaker box. So you need that. Have to have the electric. A shortcut, sort of, is this one's a 240. You need the exact same wiring to run 240 as 120. The difference being you're going to take up 2 breaker slots. So you have to have room in the breaker box. And you can now get, this big blue one makes 10 CFM, which is double what the small ones make. It makes double because I'm pulling 240 at 20 amps. So if you don't have enough spots or you don't want to run lines, you can do this. Do it all in 240. It's the same amount of wire to run, 240. And you'd get you, instead of 6 small ones, you get 3 bigger ones. Now that bigger one's probably $700. So you're paying $700 versus $320. Still expensive, but way cheaper than getting you one giant compressor. Because what you'd do is you'd run, if you got, let's say you got 4 guys, 2 polishers. I'm speaking obviously to a granite shop. Let's say you need 40 CFM. You could do, math live is not easy. 30 CFM. Let's say your shop requires 30 CFM. That's 3 polishers, basically. Yeah. 3 guys working. 30 CFM is 3 of these big ones. So you got to buy 3 of those. Or you got to buy a giant compressor that puts out 30. I mean, what's that going to cost? Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I don't even know if they make one that big. A lot of electricity to run that. So let's back up to the basic model for a home shop or something. Little guys. All little guys. You get on Amazon. Look up that FPM 44SR. It's $15. It's $15. Air connections. Get your air connections. Screw them in. On the other side, screw in whatever you need to connect to your existing lines. Your existing shop. If you have 2 lines, buy a second one. Input in 4, output into your second line. If you're like me and you have one big line, just double input into that. Now I got 8 compressors I can run. These supposed to catch water. They suck. Yeah, that's after a day's running. They don't catch anything. I wouldn't bother. If you're interested, don't buy these. They suck. Those are more expensive than everything else combined. So if you're still around at this point, you're crazy like me. This is all we're doing. We're just making manifolds. We're just making 4 inputs down to 1. And now you can run 4 small compressors. So I can run 20 CFM on this. For 20 CFM would be 4 Harbor Freight compressors. $700. Can you run that much air for $700 any other way? Maybe a used compressor. Good luck with that. So I think that covers it. If this one we've got used, we had to rebuild it, so we paid for it twice. And it's $240, like I said. It's just plugged in the same as the rest. It gets its own side. It's worth noting you have an obvious choke point on this, in that this is 5/8, I believe, on the right. So all of the air going into my shop has to fit through a 5/8 hole here and a 5/8 hole there. And I guess there and there. That's my only choke point. So if I could find a manifold at a bigger outlet, or I could probably have one machined, now I have no choke points. I have no weaknesses. The only weakness now becomes the hose. So if you really wanted to go crazy, that's where you would upgrade next, is you'd upgrade so you don't have such a choke point there. And then upgrade, like I said, the hose would be your next checkpoint with the small air con. So just quickly show you the breaker box. Hopefully this makes sense. I'll answer any questions if you got them in the comments. And I'll have links to a couple of these products. 200 amp service. That's my limiting factor. And that's quite a bit of electricity for what we're doing. But each of these, let's look at the chart. So these are the breakers. Blue compressor, that's the big blue one I showed you. 110 1, 110 compressor 1, 110 compressor 2, 110 compressor 3. Red compressor, that's another 240 compressor we got. So we have all these breakers. How many breakers is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 breakers out of that, dedicated each one to a compressor. I think that's it. Make some air, guys. It's not that difficult. I got one other cheat code for you. What did I do with it? Similarly, I don't know how you guys have your air set up. Same idea. I got one air hose. It should be obvious that you can run 3. Now, I can't run 3 compressors off of one 5/8 line. But I could limp by. I could do 2 if I had to. I could get enough air. The weakness is this 5/8 line, not the manifold or anything else. Well, at the moment, you can see I've got 2. I don't know if you can see. I've got 2 polishers hooked up to the same air line, and then a whole separate air line that feeds into that main 1.5 inch. Sorry. Let me show you one more thing. And then there's one more benefit I forgot about. This is just cheap from Lowe's or something. I don't know where I got it. It's a manifold. I can have 5. I can have 5 compressors running out one output there. Now again, obviously, why am I not focused? Obviously that's a choke point. So you're not going to go crazy with this. What we do, this is portable. These compressors are portable. Obviously, they weigh nothing. I can plug them in anywhere. The 240, if you got to go 240, you can't just take it to a customer's house. Almost certainly they don't have that set up for you. But these 2 120s, that are fueling an entire granite shop. I can take one or both to the customer and use them to power my polisher. And I can surface polish with an actual polisher, because I suck at polishing surfaces with an electric grinder, polish, or whatever. I'm terrible at it. You guys have figured it out. Michael's figured it out. I'm not good at it. I just go, you know what? I'll just bring 2 compressors and an air hose with me. And all I do is I go to Lowe's. You can buy this at Lowe's. This, now mine's modified, but it's basically this at Lowe's. This does the same thing as that. You would just plug it in there. And you could get this easy. I don't know why you would. This is $15 on Amazon. These are expensive though. Those are high volume. So what I can do, see if you can follow along with this. Sorry, there's no room in this bloody little closet. I can take these and take the cord, the hose, plug them in to 2 different breakers in the house, customer's house. Take the hose, put the hose in there twice, so the third one's not used. And then I can take a polisher or a hose, whatever, and connect it to the output. And now I can run a polisher quietly on 120 volts on site. And my shop doesn't shut down. I can do both. I can take them away and I can have the shop run without me. I can surface polish with the polisher I want to use and get fantastic results. There's videos on my channel if you want to see what kind of results here. When they're gone, we have this backup compressor that I got used. It's gas powered. It does the same thing that those 2 do. Actually, it's a little more powerful. So I can instead of taking this, I could take the gas powered compressor to the customer shop. I could do that. Set it up outside. It's freaking heavy. I got to worry about gas and oil, and it's expensive. Or I could just bring 2 of these that cost $300. It's a no-brainer. Get 2 of these. They're brand new. They'll last 6 years. Take them to the customer shop. Take this one. That's an emergency backup. Plug it in. I just plug it in. Just plug it into the manifold. Bang. And now my entire shop is back up and running without 2 of the main compressors. Huge benefit. And it's all you need to do that is this from Lowe's, or make one like I did. Simple as that. No, hopefully this isn't long and boring. It probably is, because, well, it's talking about setting up air in a shop, but whatever. If you want to make 50 CFM at 90 psi, 100 psi, you can do it with compressors that cost $160 each. This is a view while I'm at it. So I don't know. Maybe it's a waste of time. Questions, let me know. I'm happy to explain all this because it took me years to figure out, and you can't really Google such weird details. Have fun, guys.